大家好，今天我们要继续深入学习《黄帝内经素问》的下一部分。我们会讲到男女生命阶段的周期变化。你们会注意到我的幻灯片确实用了 AI。如果你不喜欢的话，可以看别的。大家都准备好了吗？开始吧。So we're picking up right where we left off after the first video. If you'll remember, last time was the introduction to part 1 of the Huangdi Neijing. We talked about the birth and rise to immortality of the Yellow Emperor, and we also discussed why people of ancient times seem to live longer, healthier lives than the people of modern day. And again, as I mentioned in the intro of this one, today we'll be talking about the life cycles of 7 and 8 years, respectively, between females and males. And there's just the differences that occur physiologically from a Chinese medicine perspective as we grow and age. So let's start. 帝曰：人年老而无子者，财力金也。将天殊然也. So the Yellow Emperor says, 帝曰. So 曰, the second character, is one that you will see frequently to represent the beginning of a quotation or someone speaking. So 帝曰人, so people, 年老, of advanced age, and are not able to have children, 无子也. So when a person grows old and cannot bear children, is it because they have exhausted their bodily strength? So 财力金也. Or 将天殊然也. Is it that their natural allotment of years, the natural course of their life, kind of the time that they've been given by the cosmos, has that run out? Is it just kind of the natural process of aging? So here's that character, 曰, again, 岐伯曰. So 岐伯 says, 女子几岁? So females at age 7, 7岁. 生气盛. Their kidney qi is abundant, exuberant, flourishing. 齿更发长. Their teeth are replaced. So this is essentially their baby teeth are growing in, maybe falling out, and the adult teeth are kind of coming in behind them. The character replaced, or the word replaced as a translation here feels a little strange, but it's essentially just, the tooth fairy. Doesn't exist in China, I don't think. Maybe there is a tooth fairy. In any case, teeth grow, hair grows long. They're starting to essentially show characteristics of their assigned birth gender. Let's not get too woke here. Okay, as I watch that clip back, I'm realizing that I'm talking with my hands, or at least the mic hand, too much. So I'll try to keep it a little closer to my mouth for sound purposes. So, the next life cycle. 二七而天癸至，任脉通，太冲脉盛，月事宜时下，古有子. So at the second 7, so 2 times 2, at 14, the tiān arrives. So if you don't know much about Chinese medicine, tiān is heavenly essence, or kind of the water of the kidneys, which in a lot of instances refers to menstrual blood in females. So 天癸 we can think of here as menstruation arrives. 任脉通, so the conception vessel. 任脉, that channel that runs down the midline, starts to flow, starts to open up. 太冲脉生, so the penetrating vessel is flourishing. So the penetrating vessel is very closely tied to blood. And their moon time, their moon time starts to become on schedule. Their menstruation descends at proper time, proper intervals. So generally 28 days. and thus she is able to bear children. Again, remember, this is ancient times. It was not as weird for a 14-year-old to be conceiving a child. Obviously, nowadays, not something that we want, but this is a product of its time, so just keep that in mind. Just because we have the societal norm and expectation that 14 is too young to be a parent, that doesn't mean that physiology won't allow it. They are physically able and capable to bear children given their physiology. Not condoning it though. Let me get that in writing. 三七生气平均，故真牙生儿长疾. So at the third 7, 21, my gosh, I have to do math. At 21, kidney qi is balanced and even, 平均. And her wisdom teeth emerge. So 真牙, so the true teeth, meaning wisdom teeth, emerge, and the growth of her teeth reaches the fullest extent, which again sounds kind of weird. At 21, she has grown into her teeth. Let's just say that. All of them. All the ones that need to fall out have fallen out. All the ones that need to grow in have grown in. She's got a full set. Before I continue, I also just want to mention, I know I'm going through this pretty quick. This type of video is meant to be just like a general read-through overview of a section of a classic, but I do definitely plan on doing videos that are specifically focused on vocabulary acquisition, specifically focused on grammatical structures of classical Chinese. So, I mean, you're seeing a lot of repeat things like something something zhe or something something ye. These are very common classical Chinese particles, and we will do full overviews of what those are and how to recognize them and how to translate them. So if you're discouraged that I'm not kind of diving super deeply into the grammatical details or each individual vocabulary, trust that that kind of content is on the way. Just not right now. So at the fourth 7, 28, 四七筋骨健发长疾身体生壮. So she's thriving, little miss, at 28. Yes, 28. I failed math, okay? That's why I'm an acupuncturist. At 28, the sinews and bones are firm. 筋骨, sinews and bone, are firm, strong. Her hair, 发长疾, reaches its full length, just like the wisdom teeth in the last one. So now she's got long teeth and long hair. 身体生壮. So her body is flourishing, strong, robust. Like this is like her peak, essentially. Don't worry, I'm already past my peak as well. So it's okay. It's not the end of the world. All right, so we've got 2 life cycles on this side. We have the 五七, so the 5th 7, and 六七, the 6th 7. So 35 and 42. Which makes me question these images, because damn. In any case, at 35, 阳明脉衰. So the Yangming vessel declines, becomes weaker. 面食焦. So the face begins to wither. 发始堕. The hair begins to fall out. 六七三阳脉衰于上. So the 3 yang vessels begin to decline above. So, sorry, in the upper body, the 3 yang vessels begin to decline. 面皆焦, the face becomes altogether withered and wrinkled. And the 发始白, the hair begins to turn white. So again, we have to remember we live in different times. We have access to things like supplements and hormone replacement, and 35 and 42 nowadays look very, very different from what they did in these times. But again, it's still important to know kind of what the next stage of your life may look like if you don't properly care for your body and your essence and keep yourself strong. Because if you don't take care of yourself, this might be your story. You might be a bald, white-haired, withered-faced hag before you're even 40. So take your herbs and see an acupuncturist. I'll save you. So I just realized there's a mistranslation on this slide. It is not 77. It is, in fact, 49. She may as well be 77 in this photo. But 77, 49, 7 sevens. 任脉虚, the Ren meridian, the conception vessel, is deficient, in decline. 太冲脉衰少. So the Tai Chong, the Chong Mai, the penetrating vessel, is waning. It is weakening. Greatly weakened. 天鬼劫, heavenly essence, is exhausted. 地道不同. So again, with this being AI, 地道, it's not necessarily the gate of life like the Mingmen is the gate of life, that fire between the kidneys. The 地道 is just the lower like passageways, the lower gate essentially. So essentially, like, she's the literal pathway of in which a child would exit is kind of dried up, no longer open. She's closed for business. 故形坏而无子也. So for this reason, the body deteriorates and she can no longer bear children. Bang, bang, boom. Okay, moving on to this little 男孩子. So, 丈夫8岁生气时发长吃羹. So again, it's going to be very similar here, except it's going to be in 8-year cycles, and we're not going to have menstruation, obviously. But otherwise, there's a lot of overlap in growth. So at 8 years old, kidney qi is abundant, replete. The hair grows and the teeth are replaced. 28肾气盛天癸至精气一邪阴阳和故能游资. So at 16, 2 8s, kidney qi is abundant. 天癸 for men is more analogous to semen, seminal fluid, rather than menstrual blood. 精气一邪, so essence overflows and is released. So for, I guess, particularly virile young men, this might look like maybe a wet dream, an awkward wet dream as a teenager. You know, the essence is flowing in abundance. Yin and yang are harmonious, and he can therefore have children. So again, not condoning teenage fathers or mothers, but physiologically it is possible. 38, 24, getting faster. 肾气平均, so again, the kidney qi is balanced and harmonious. 筋骨筋强, so the sinews and bones are strong and resilient. 故真牙生而长疾, wisdom teeth come in, his teeth reach full length and strength. He's a strong, thriving dude. Also, the juxtaposition between these next two is wild. But again, for men, their peak is said to be at 48, so 32. 48筋骨隆盛. At the 4th 8, the sinews and bones are flourishing and abundant. 肌肉满壮. The muscles are full and robust, hopefully, if you've been hitting the gym. 5 肾气衰. So at the fifth 8:40, which is quickly approaching, the kidney qi begins to decline. 发多齿槁, so the hair begins to fall and the teeth begin to wither. Yikes. Aging is such a trip, y'all. So moving on to our very decrepit-looking 48 and 56-year-olds. 68阳气衰节与上面焦发鬓斑白. So the sixth 8 yang qi declines, yang qi shuai, and becomes exhausted above again. 接与上, so depleted in the upper, the shang, leading to 面焦, so a more withered face. And 发鬓斑白, the hair at the temples turns gray and white. I am seeing it a lot in myself, which is why I keep the sides of my head shaved. But I definitely remember making fun of my parents because both of them started to go gray at the temples. And now I am eating my words. 78肝气衰, so at 7/8, 56, the qi of the liver weakens and declines, and we know that the sinews and tendons are connected to the liver. So as the liver qi becomes weak, the tendons become more rigid and 不能动, so are no longer able to move well. 天癸节, so the tiān or essence in males becomes weak or exhausted. So again, they do not have the material components necessary to create new life. 肾脏衰, so the storehouse of the kidneys weakens, and the 形体结集, the whole body, 形体结集, reaches its limit, its max. Not in like a thriving way, but it's like the body can't take any more insult at this point. Like it's kind of all downhill from here, unfortunately. 金五藏解衰. So now the 5 zang are all in decline. All of the 5 storehouses are weak. So those are the 5 yin organs. 筋骨解堕. So the tendons and bones are loose. And when it says 堕, I don't think it necessarily means falling, but more so like you are hunched, you are stooped over because you can no longer hold yourself up to full height. 天癸金乙, so the essence is altogether dried up, exhausted. 故发鬓白, therefore the hair at the temples turns white. 身体重, the body becomes heavy. 行步不正, the walk becomes unsteady. And 儿无子儿, so therefore there's no kiddos. You're not having babies at this point in your life, nor should you be. If you look like that, I don't think you're going to be able to care for a kid. Just my opinion. But even if you wanted to, at this point, should have frozen your sperm and your eggs, folks. Okay, moving on. So we've talked about the life cycles. Though in those texts, it doesn't go farther than that. Obviously, there are some people who lived beyond those years, but for the most part, lifespan wasn't great in those times. So again, as modern practitioners, we kind of have to think about how to take those lessons from the classics and apply them to a different world, because obviously the lifespan now is greater than 56, 60. And obviously people are also having kids later as well with, fertility medicines and fertility drugs out there. So it's different times. But the Yellow Emperor now asks another question. 帝曰有其年已老而有子之何也? So how is it that some people are advanced in years and still creating little babies? Like, you see these old folks who are getting either, it's not usually in the modern day, I guess, people getting pregnant. It's usually creepy old men who are fathering children from young ladies. But in any case, how is it happening? How do these old fogies still make children? And 岐伯曰此其田受过度. So this is because their heavenly endowed lifespan exceeds ordinary measure. 气脉常通. The qi within their vessels remains free-flowing and unobstructed. 而肾气有余也. Their kidney qi is abundant and overflowing. Like they have strong, thriving kidney qi, which, remember, in Chinese medicine, the kidneys are connected to reproduction and all of these cycles of life. So all the life cycles that we talked about today are primarily governed by the kidneys. 此虽有子，男不过仅88，女不过仅77，而天地之气皆结矣. Essentially, even for the most healthy people, even the ones who take care of themselves greatly, generally, even if you're like the prime candidate of humanness, you won't be able to exceed 88 and have children. And for women, you won't be able to exceed 77. I don't know if I've ever seen someone pregnant in their 70s. Don't know if I want to. But according to this text, that's kind of like the upper limit that you can reach as like a regular person who is just either blessed with a great heavenly endowment or you take really good care of yourself. So, I mean, obviously, I don't want to speak ill of the Yellow Emperor, but he seems really dead set on having kids forever. Like, I don't know why he's so set on this subject, but he asks again, 妇道者年皆百数. So those who follow the Tao and live to 100 or beyond, 能有子乎? Can they still have kids? If I'm a really good Taoist and I live till I'm 100, can I get somebody pregnant, please? So Qi says, 妇道者能却老而全行. So ones who follow the Tao can repel aging, 却老而全行, and preserve their body, protect their body. 身年虽寿, though they're advanced in age and kind of long-lived, 能生子业. They can still bear children, apparently. So there's still hope for you, I guess. But that's the salty of it. It's like, if you want to be a fertility machine into more than advanced age, you got to follow the Tao, baby. So if you ain't been following it, get on it. Get on that path, baby. Follow that yellow brick road all the way to babies, I guess. Okay, so that was cute and fun. I think that little section of the Nei Jing is like more of an interesting cultural artifact to look at. It's a good way to pick out some solid vocabulary words, things like flourishing and abundant, and then like anatomical terms like teeth and hair and kidneys and bones, and like there's some good vocabulary meat in there. But in terms of like clinical practicality, like obviously there's some overlap in those life cycles, especially, from 7, 8 years old until like your 30s. I'd say that that's kind of pretty much the same, but obviously our ideas of aging and growing into old age and aging gracefully look a little bit different there. But again, just use your critical thinking and just like take those lessons and figure out how you can apply them to the modern world. In any case, as much as I love the classics and reading things like the Yellow Emperor's Classic, I also want to show folks that you should just have fun and read whatever you want to. So the next lesson that I have planned is not actually from a medical classic, but is actually from the 西游记, so Journey to the West. There's this amazing feast sequence from early in the text that I think is maybe the most delicious thing I have ever read. And anytime I'm hungry, I think about it, and I want to share it with y'all. So we'll be taking a little break from the classics, but trust that we will be back to our medical programming soon enough. But again, if there's any type of content you'd like to see more of, less of, just let me know. I'm easygoing. I'm willing to give the folks what they want. And I hope you had fun doing this. This has really been scratching my itch for teaching again. And I hope you can see how much fun I'm having, because I am, and I love it. And I would love to see this grow into something big and beautiful.